Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to build a cheap DIY brine shrimp hatchery. If you're like me, you're probably trying to save as much money as you can when starting out this hobby. And so this video is for anyone starting their own brine shrimp hatchery and not wanting to spend $30 or $40 for a brand new one from the retail store. This hatchery is going to work just as good as the retail ones, and it's going to cost a third or a quarter of the price. So I want to start out by saying I did see this hatchery built on YouTube, and I tested it out for myself and it works great, and so I wanted to share it with you guys. Okay, so let's go over the parts we're going to need for this build. Okay, so this is what the brine shrimp hatchery is going to look like when it is complete and set up. So the first thing you're going to need is just a bottle. This is a 2-liter soda bottle, and I already had it laying around because I drink soda, so for me this was free. I just drank the soda, and then when I was done with it, I washed it out, cleaned it, and I had this bottle to use for the hatchery. Okay, so the next thing you're going to need is, for the bottle, you're going to need this special cap. It's a regular cap that fits on the soda bottle, but it has these 2 connectors on the end. One will be used for the air, and then the other one will be used to dispense the brine shrimp when it is done. And then you're going to need some airline tubing. If you're like me, you probably have some airline tubing lying around for your air pump, which you're going to need. So you're going to need the airline tubing either way, even if you buy the store-bought product. So just a little airline tubing that will connect the cap with the air compressor and to dispense the brine shrimp. Another thing you're going to need is this toggle. It's just a little on and off switch toggle, so you can turn the air off and on, but also when you're dispensing, you're going to want it shut so it doesn't come spilling out when it's hanging up. And then lastly, you're going to just want some wire. So this is just some galvanized steel wire I bought, and it's just going to be used to hold the hatchery up in place while it's going. And so I got all these things off of Amazon that I didn't already have at the house. And total, I mean, the lid is probably $2 each. The on and off valve came in a big pack with a bunch of them. It was a few bucks. And then the wire was a few bucks. So, I mean, it was under $10 total for the whole project. And then so to set it up, it's pretty easy. You just take the 2-liter bottle, you just cut off the base, and then you just drill some holes in each side, one on each side, and then you just put the wire through, tie a little knot, twist it up, and then you're good to go. Okay, so now that I've taken you through how to build the setup, I'm going to take you through how I run each batch and how long I run it for, and the ratios I use of salt and eggs. So let's get right into that. Okay, so the first step is to add the water. So I add 4 cups of water, which is about, I think, 1 liter. So let's do that. Okay, so now I have the right water amount filled. We're going to go hang it up on the shelf, and then we're going to add the salt and eggs in next. Okay, so for the salt, I just use some regular non-iodized sea salt. I think you can use any non-iodized salt. This is a pretty small bag, so the next time I buy salt, I'll probably buy a big bag, buy it in bulk. But I just wanted it right away, so I just got this off Amazon. It was like $2 a bag, and it's lasted me quite a bit. But I just use 1 teaspoon of the non-iodized salt. And then for the brine shrimp eggs, I use Brine Shrimp Direct. This is the only brand I've used, so I can't tell you if there's any better alternatives. But this is about $50 for this can, and I mean, there's a lot of eggs in here. It should last me well over a year, I would think. But yeah, I use a 1/4 teaspoon of eggs for my batch. And so your ratios for this setup might be different than mine, because I have 3 breeding tanks and then a community tank, but if you have more fish, you're probably going to need more. Or if you just have like 1 tank with 1 or 2 fish, then obviously you wouldn't need as much. So it's going to be different for everybody, but this is what works for me and my tanks. Okay, let's go ahead and add the salt and eggs in. So 1 teaspoon of salt. Just put it right in there. And then a 1/4 teaspoon of eggs. And in it goes. All right, so now that we got the eggs and salt in, let's go ahead and hook up the air pump. So I just take my airline tube, which is hooked up to an air pump over there, and I just plug it in. Okay, and then once it's connected, I just open up the valve and the air starts coming out. I'll give you a better look. Okay, so we have the air valve going. Let's get a light on here. Okay, so you can see the air is coming out of the airline tube, and it is circulating the eggs, which is what you want. You just want them to be circulating. And so, yeah. And so I use a light on it 24/7. I haven't tested it without a light on, but I've also heard that it might not be necessary, but I've always just used a light, so I can't tell you what works better because I've never tried it without the light. Okay, so when I started off, I did 36 hours hatching time for my brine shrimp, but I actually found that 24 hours works well for me now, so that's what I've been doing. The main reason for this is because you want to feed the fish, the brine shrimp, as soon as possible after they hatch, because that's when they still have that yolk sac to them, and that's the most nutritious part of the brine shrimp. So as soon as they hatch, you kind of want to give them to the fish. And so I found after 24 hours, most of them are hatched and they still have the yolk sac on them, so that's when I give them to the fish. Now for you, depending on the water temperature, like the colder the water, the longer it's going to take. So you might have to wait 36 hours, or it could work at 24 hours. It's just kind of, each situation is different, so whatever works for you, you'll have to find out. Okay, so yeah, let's wait 24 hours, then we'll collect the batch, and then we'll feed them to the fish. So I'll see you guys in 24 hours. All right, guys, it has been 24 hours, so it's time to hatch the brine shrimp. So let's go do that. You can see the water's turned nice and golden brown. So it's definitely time to hatch these brine shrimp. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn the air off and let the brine shrimp settle down to the bottom. So I'm gonna wait 5 to 10 minutes and then we'll come back and dispense the brine shrimp. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes and you can see they've all settled down to the bottom, so let's dispense them now. Okay, so I'm just gonna unhook the air tube here. Then I'm just gonna open up the dispenser. And there you go, you can see the liquid coming out. And so I'll dispense these and then we'll go to the next step. So here's all the brine shrimp we collected. Now we just need to sieve out the brine shrimp, and we're gonna keep the salt water because we're gonna keep the second half of the batch still going for tonight. And then we're gonna rinse off the brine shrimp and then feed it to the fish. So let's go. Okay, so the first step is to take the sieve and we're gonna pour the brine shrimp and the water into this tub so we can keep the salt water for tonight's batch. So let's do that. And this sieve I got on Amazon. It's a 120 micron, I believe. So if you want to get it, I got it on Amazon. Okay, so now we kept the salt water in there. We're gonna rinse this off in the sink and then pour the brine shrimp into this tub. And you can just use this little squeeze bottle to get the rest out. I saw this on Dean. He uses this sieve and this bottle, so that's how I got this idea. It works great. Okay, now let's just add some water to this, about halfway up the bottle probably, about 6 seconds. Okay, so now we're gonna rinse out the hatchery, and then we're gonna pour the salt water back in, and then half of the brine shrimp back in here. Because like I said again, we're just saving this half for tonight's dinner. Okay, got it clean. Now we're going to put the salt water back in. Okay, and then now just approximately half of the brine shrimp. I saw Dean do this and it's a good idea. Just stir them up to make sure they're not just all sitting at the bottom or anything. Okay, and let's pour half of it in. Maybe a little more. Okay, that's really good. So now I'm gonna go put this back up and put the air back in to get it circulating so we can save it for tonight. Okay, so it's not really focusing, but here's the brine shrimp. Let's go feed it to the fish. Okay, for this video, I'm just gonna feed it to one tank because that should be enough to get the point across. But yeah, this is my molly tank. We're gonna feed the brine shrimp. I don't really have a set amount I feed them. I just do quite a bit of sprays. So it's just a little pipette. I don't have a turkey baster or anything. But yeah, I just do a little spritzes of this, and then I go around each tank, and then I'll just walk back and look at them, and if I see any tanks that I think need more, I'll give them more. And then I'll just choose, usually my community tank, and just dump the rest in. So yeah, this should be good, and now I'll get a close-up here so you can see them eating. So yeah, you can see the hatchery works great. It produces the brine shrimp, and the fish absolutely love it. Gets their hunting skills going, you know, it gets them the nutritious stuff that they need from the brine shrimp, and yeah, it's great if you're a breeder or if you're just keeping fish and want to feed brine shrimp. I highly recommend you try out this hatchery. And then if you know you're using it every day and you want something that's a little bit more firm and not as flimsy, then go ahead and upgrade. But I think to start off, you should just do this trick because it saves a lot of money and it works great. So yeah. Okay, so if you found this video helpful, please drop a like on the video, and you can also subscribe to the channel to see every video I post. The goal right now is to post a video every Sunday at 2 p.m. Central Time. So yeah, stay tuned for the next one, and I will see you guys next week.